you doing? You are listening to The Objective Jerk, and I am said jerk. How's everybody doing? Um, losing a lot of people, a lot of famous people. It's always in threes, right? Um, can't really talk to you loud. My wife's actually sleeping in the room. It's actually kind of late. I usually don't stay up this late, but it was just kind of doom scrolling, before I go to sleep, and then actually my wife saw it. She's like, Hulk Hogan died. I was like, what? And, you always got to verify because people always I remember getting tricked that Jackie Chan had passed away, years ago. I don't think people do it really anymore, but it was kind of a thing. But yeah, so, you know, Ozzy, Hulk, and then the third, I guess, I don't know. I mean, he wasn't quite as big, so some people might argue what Malcolm Jamal Warner was that his name? Guy was on Cosby Show, and he was in lots of. He always had some parts in lots of different films and everything. And I would hey, that's the guy from Cosby Show. Um, I don't know if he's kind of on the same level though. So I'm kind of thinking there still might be someone that will pass to make it officially three. Because I mean, everybody knows who Ozzy is. Everybody knows who Hulk is. Not everybody knows who Malcolm so and so. So we'll see. But it's crazy. It's in threes. It always happens in threes, right? Isn't that weird? Because it always does. So let's see. And I don't know. Like it's yeah, it's a bummer, I guess. But I mean, they're older. They live their life. It's a part of life. So it's not like, oh my gosh, it's so sad. Like, when somebody tragically passes through an accident or you know what I mean at a younger age, it's a little more sad, but Ozzy, we all knew it was coming. Yes, it's kind of sad, but at the same time it's dude, he had he did his concert 2 weeks later, and then he passed. It was almost like he was at his own funeral, or something. But yeah, it's not. I'm not like, oh my god, it's so sad. It's crazy. I guess if anything, it just makes me feel older or something because Ozzy's been. I've known who Ozzy is my whole life. I remember, Bark at the Moon video and stuff as a kid, and it kind of scared me. And you'd hear the stories with the bat and what, and so, and then I liked some of his stuff, but I was more into Black Sabbath when I got older and everything. Um, and then of course, his resurgence or whatever you want to call it, and when he had his show with his family and everything, and so I mean, yeah, he's always been there. He's always been around. And same with like Hulk, man. I remember him as a little kid watching some wrestling. I was only into wrestling when I was a kid at this time. At the peak of like Hulkamania, I guess. And I remember watching it, and I remember making like cardboard wrestling belts, championship belts with my cousin and stuff like that. Yeah, so I was kind of into that at that time, Junkyard Dog and Macho Man and all that kind of stuff. I've talked about how I'm still like I keep tabs on wrestling, but I don't watch it. Um, so yeah, it's just like it's kind of weird when someone like that passes. I mean, there's different celebrities that pass and this and that, but there's the ones that just they've always been there. So it's like it's not. I watched something. Man, what was it? I watched something where a guy was it on Rogan? I think they were actually talking. Was that it? Talking about saw a clip talking about Ozzy, and he said this guy, I don't know who it was actually, and he says something like or maybe his wife said it that it's like it's not like because it's a celebrity, you don't know them personally or nothing, so it doesn't really affect you the same way as if you lost someone personally. But it's almost like you're just there's no more. I think he said like vanilla ice cream. all of a sudden, Coca-Cola's gone. Like, what? Coke has always been here. What? Now it's not here? Oh, that sucks. Blah, 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 whatever. That's kind of, how it is when a celebrity that, maybe you cherish and enjoy, and maybe you don't. They've always been there. Who's the celebrity that's always been there? I don't know. There was a couple that was just like, oh wow. Like I'm just waiting for Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood's gonna be like, oh, like no, I love Gene Hackman. Let me see who I was gonna look up and see. There's like some famous people that. Oh, it's a bummer. Let's see. I'm gonna look this up real quick. Let's see. Yeah, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Oh, so I was kind of right. But I don't think he's on the same level. So I don't know if that's fair to say that, the whole three thing. I don't know. I don't know if he's on the same level as Ozzy and Hulk, What the crap, dude? I don't need to go through. Wow, this is a little too in depth. I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to give like an example of somebody who, oh yeah, you've always kind of known who they are, but Val Kilmer was cool. Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. I guess maybe for me, like I know who the Beach Boys are. I was never. I don't know. No, I'm not a fan. I'm not going to try and lie. Oh yeah, Pet Sounds. I've never, I've always known who he was, but yeah. So it wasn't like, oh man, but like Ozzy, for sure, because I just, I grew up with family who were fans of Sabbath or Ozzy and MTV, of course, and so I was always around. And then when I got older, I was more into Sabbath, though. I mean, I still am. But that's yeah, okay. So there's lots of people. Some of them I don't even know. Oh, well, that guy hasn't been around forever. Oh, Michael Madsen. Yeah, so he died not too long ago. That's right. Forgot about that. So I mean, it's like I don't know. I've never been like, oh my gosh, so and so died, or like it really. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there was one that was kind of like, oh man, that sucks, that's sad, or whatever. I guess the dude, and it wasn't like I wasn't sad, but it was heartbreaking. The man, what was his name? He was on the Star Trek movies, an actor. He got crushed by his car. Like that's pretty sad. You know what I mean? And like that's like, oh man, that sucks. Because just he was young and the way he went out and everything was just like, gosh. So that's heartbreaking. Ozzy passing away at 70, whatever. Everybody knew it was coming. It's not heartbreaking. I mean, it's it sucks, but we all die. So it's not like it's a huge, oh, I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny. Not funny, but I don't know if it's when people really get upset over it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for listening to The Objective Jerk. I greatly appreciate it. If you could like, subscribe, comment on wherever you're finding this, and you can also email me at theobjectivejerk@gmail.com. So hope you're enjoying it, and please continue on with the episode. I grew up during the whole grunge area, and I lived in Washington State, in Tacoma, which is pretty close to Seattle. I went to the high school I graduated from was the same high school that Jerry Cantrell graduated from Alice in Chains. And so, I mean, when Kurt Cobain, killed himself, it wasn't like, oh my god. It was just like, oh man, that sucks. But I don't know, maybe I'm weird. Am I weird that it's not more, I guess, heartbreaking for me? I mean, I've had loved ones, family members that, is heartbreaking and hard losing a loved one. I mean, but with celebrities, it's just weird, because you feel like you know them because you see them on TV or you listen to them on whatever and YouTube and magazines and pictures and all this stuff. They have no idea who you are, but you know who they are, and so it's kind of an odd thing. But I think it's a little strange when people get really, really upset over it. I don't know. To me, that kind of, not to be a dick, but it kind of sounds like maybe you need some sort of help therapy wise or something. I don't know. I don't know if that's mean to say, but it's like I don't know. I know I keep seeing like these posts that say like people that are infatuated with celebrities are usually not the brightest individuals. Now, I'm not infatuated, but I'm not very smart either. So I don't know how much water that holds, but I don't know. But again, it's a bummer. Ozzy, it was kind of cool to be, because eventually, the whole rock and roll started in '55, and so Elvis is gone, and so you have all these individuals who were the icons, or the what is it, the individuals that just developed a lot of what we use or love or whatever, you know what I mean? Case in point, Ozzy and Sabbath, and basically inventing heavy metal, so we're still, I was younger when heavy metal was still something kind of new, and the people that created it were still around, so it kind of was like there's like a little connection or whatever. I mean, you still have the other members, but they're getting old. Same with Zeppelin, man. They're getting old. Pretty soon they're all going to be gone, and it's just going to be like, oh man, yeah, Black Sabbath, they were awesome, but they're it's all just a memory. Right now at least they're still around. Like I just watched that documentary on Netflix, Becoming Led Zeppelin, I think it's called, and I was excited for it. Because I mean, I don't know, I'm not a geek about much. There's like a couple things that I'm kind of a geek about, that that I nerd out about or whatever. Like I'm not like super passionate about. I mean, I love music, but there isn't like, I love a bunch of music. Like I'm not like a deadhead, listen to nothing but Grateful Dead, or I listen to nothing but Led Zeppelin or whatever. I listen to all of it, so I go through moods where it's like I'll just listen to Led Zeppelin for a week or two, and then it'll change and it'll be something else or whatever. I don't know, but I am a fan, and so I was excited about this documentary that's on Netflix that just released, and I think I'm looking it up right now just to make sure, but I think it's called Becoming Led Zeppelin, and I was excited for it because I set a reminder, and I was like, yeah, okay, this will be cool. I want to watch this. I didn't watch no trailers or anything. I usually don't watch any trailers because I don't know. It just they seem to just ruin the movies now. They put too much information. I cannot find it right now. What the crap? All right, hold on a second. Let's see. Just look up Led Zeppelin. There it is. Yeah, Becoming Led Zeppelin. Okay. So basically, it kind of goes over the history. Um, Now, what's cool about it is, so they have like current interviews, like recent interviews they did with all the surviving members, right? And then they have recordings of Bonzo or John Bonham that were supposedly previously unreleased, where it's like an interview that kind of goes along with the interviews with the surviving members, So, it starts off and it's a history on all the members from childhood and their parents and, all that kind of stuff, which I think for the most part I already knew, but it was still kind of interesting to learn some of it. But, you learn about like I knew um, Jimmy Page was like a session player, same with John Paul Jones. But it did kind of go in a little bit more detail about that, which I liked. Like I didn't know that Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones played on the song Goldfinger for the 007 for the movie Goldfinger. Goldfinger. Like they played on that. So that's kind of cool. Stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. I didn't know that. And just, learning some stuff, about the writing of the album. I didn't realize that they made recorded their first album like after only knowing and being together as a band for like a month. I didn't know that, which is kind of crazy. But the documentary though was kind of it left me like it just I don't know it I wanted more details and more information about the albums and the writing process and the recording process and maybe a little more information on a little bit of their background. Like they did a lot of their personal background up to a point and then it just nothing. And it just the movie kind of there was like two songs that they kind of was almost like watching a video concert of them live, which is cool, but I've seen that before, and I would rather just like a short clip and then continue on with more information. So it kind of just seemed like I think it started off good, but then it kind of was like, that's it. I don't know. I mean, it's still, I enjoyed it and I'm glad it's there. I'll probably watch it again, in a couple months or something. But, yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of hoping for a little bit more, I guess. I don't know. Did you guys watch it? Do you know it's there? But anyway, yeah, so celebrities, you know, the whole celebrity thing is kind of with social media and everything. It's celebrities are not what they used to be. I mean, so you have Ozzy and Hulk, right? But who was their contemporary equal? You know what I mean? Like there's no celebrities that are I don't know, like there's nothing. They're all just manufactured or fake or I don't know, man. It's just weird. Um I don't know. Maybe I'm just, and a lot of it I think is I'm just getting old. Try to look at the camera more because I do watch these and I don't look at the camera, so it's like I'm not looking at you, the person who's watching this. And I need to do that more. I need to look at this little green dot. Maybe I need to put like a face or maybe like a picture of an attractive woman with cleavage and also there and look. But I don't know. I just seem to kind of stare off and talk. But anyway, um, so I ordered all the Alien movies a while back, and it was like a little box set thing, which included Romulus, the newest one, Alien Romulus, which was a separate, like it came with it, but it was not included with like the first 6 or 5 or whatever movies it is. And so I watched it the other night with my family, and I enjoyed it. Um, it it was a little more like the first one. It was more of a horror. Um, lots of key jangling, kind of remember stuff. That's like little homages to the other films and stuff like that. And some of it worked. Some of it was kind of annoying. That's my wife sleeping and coughing in the background. You all right? You need water? Okay. um, but immediately watching the film, I was just kind of annoyed with the casting. Like everybody in the film was like high school kids. I mean, they're not, but that's what it seemed like to me. You know, everybody was. It just and it didn't fit though to me. I mean, I understand it's like in the future and it's on some other planet and things are going to be different, and some mining and all this kind of stuff, but like it just kind of it takes me out a little bit when it's just I don't know, like so the two main characters, the main female and the android were fine. And even maybe the girl who was pregnant and the love interest of the main girl was fine. But I think it would have been better for me personally if, and I'm talking to people who have seen it, if the asshole dude and the Asian girl, if they were like older, like instead of the guy being the brother to the love interest, if he was like an uncle who was a little bit older, you know what I mean? And same with the Asian woman being the pilot, like it didn't fit, and I was just like, God, everybody's like a kid, you know. And yes, I know I'm getting older, so people who are not kids look like kids to me. I get that, but I don't know. I just think they could have. It just I don't know. But other than that, um, I liked a lot of the things that they did. A lot of different aspects or different. I don't know. I'm trying to say it like I'm not give it away or whatever, but um, I enjoyed it overall. I don't know if I liked the alien at the end though. It was creepy, definitely creepy, and it was different. You know, I thought I was kind of expecting that would happen in like a sequel. I thought they were gonna kind of, and then it would just leave it like a little, cliffhanger. Like, but they went through and it did the whole thing. I don't know. So I enjoyed it. I think it's I don't know. I like the Alien movies really. The other ones, even, I mean, you have some characters that really do stupid things, but if you think about it, there's always someone that does something stupid, like in the first one. And I can, say this because I just watched it because I bought the whole box set. But what's his name? The guy who gets the first faced hugger, and they want to bring him in, but Ripley's like, no, we have to quarantine this and that, and then they let him in and do it. So they make the stupid mistake, but then without the stupid mistake, you wouldn't have the movie, So that's just kind of what it is. And there's always that person that's just an idiot and makes dumb mistakes for the plot to continue, and that happens in all of them, But anyway, that's about it. Yeah, celebrities are dying. They go in threes. Do you think Malcolm Jamal Warner, he quantifies as a A-list celebrity to be with the three? I'm kind of thinking no. I'm kind of thinking someone else is going to go. And then next week, we're going to lose someone else. Let's see if I'm right. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate your time, and God bless. All right, bye. You just put yourself through another episode of The Objective Jerk. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Please email me at theobjectivejerk@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, comment, wherever you find this, follow. It all helps. But thanks again, and I'll see you next time.